Trying to walk on water might sound like a cool idea, but taking on Mother Nature like this has only one likely direction: down. So imagine the risks if you tried to drive on water. This 200-kilogram quad bike is racing towards a lake at 45 kilometers per hour. And the driver's not planning on hitting the brakes. It might look like an oversized puddle, but the water's actually 2 meters deep. So, what happened next? Does he sink or skim? This driver skims across the surface of the lake, but how did he do it? This isn't a miracle. He's using a phenomenon we've all heard of: aquaplaning. Though it isn't always this much fun. It's better known for causing crashes on wet roads. It happens when a vehicle encounters more water than its tires can disperse. This water then begins to form a wedge in front of the wheels. And if the vehicle is traveling fast enough, it will ride up onto that wedge. The wheels are now floating friction-free, whether there's tarmac or a lake underneath. When it comes to driving on water, we know that it's quad bike 1, lake 0. But what's the score when using a Jeep? Compared to the quad, he's going 80 kilometers an hour faster, on tires 3 times as big, and in a vehicle that weighs 6 times more. So here's the heavyweight question: can he make it across? The lake is no match for a big set of low-pressure tires racing at high speed. Weight isn't that critical, but high velocity is, and so is low tire pressure, which reduces the amount of rubber that's in contact with a road. Or in this case, a lake. And when you're doing your calculations, just make sure you also factor in a safe exit. Manhole covers, harmless lumps of metal, or a marauding menace. It may pay all of us to watch where we tread in future. Because manhole covers have been caught on video exploding totally spontaneously. And they've gone global, terrorizing Russian motorists, English pedestrians, and even night shift workers in New York.
Oh my God!
Weighing at least 50 kilograms, the prospect of encountering an exploding chunk of cast iron is no joke. It happens when damaged electrical cables heat up, igniting their rubber insulation. This releases highly explosive carbon monoxide gas, which builds up until a single spark from the exposed wiring is all it takes to turn this big metal disc into a red-hot flying saucer. So, is the force of a manhole blast powerful enough to blow this 1 3/4 ton 4x4 off the road? The vehicle is blasted off the road by the ground-to-car missile, but manages to remain upright. As did the quick-thinking driver of the moped following behind. And it turns out Manhole Mayhem is on the increase. Around the world, on average, there's at least 1 manhole blast every day. But such explosions aren't always spontaneous. In China, CCTV cameras have caught people illegally dropping firecrackers into methane-filled sewers, with explosive results. The methane expands very rapidly when it ignites, blowing the manhole out like a bullet. Another 50-kilogram manhole cover. Same country, the same amount of gas. Watch this foolish dad as he gives his children a lesson they'll never forget. It's going to blow, but how high? 1 meter? 10 meters? 20 meters? The exploding methane shot the manhole cover 20 meters into the air. The children were unharmed. but Dad had to be treated in hospital. So be warned, this is absolutely not one to try at home or anywhere else. Kids falling around on bikes, or something as deadly serious as international motorsport. Welcome to the daredevil world of ramp jumping. It looks terrifying, but the real experts leave nothing to chance. And there's some proven science which can predict where you'll land with surprising accuracy. If you know your angle of departure and your initial velocity, an equation can tell you how far you can fly. The higher the velocity, the further you'll be projected. And the optimum angle is 45 degrees. This man might not look like a scientist, because he isn't. But he's a true handyman. He's built a 22-meter slide and borrowed his kid's old paddling pool. As he prepares to slither down from his perch 5 meters above the water, he reckons the ramp, which is at the ideal 45-degree angle, will easily propel him 3 meters into the pool. So, what happened next? Will he splash or splat? Sadly, he's left munching grass. All because the equation won't work if the pool is below the top of the ramp. He should have compensated by moving the pool further away. So whatever your jumping style, remember those variables. Velocity, angle of departure, which should tell you how far you can jump. Though, as always, leave it to the experts. Ask almost any car driver, and they'll tell you big trucks can be intimidating. In the United States alone, there are 500,000 accidents involving trucks every year. This means that car and lorry drivers should avoid getting too close, because when they do, it can cause serious trouble. There are few vehicles more dangerous on the open road than an out-of-control lorry. And few sights more terrifying than one jackknifing straight towards your car. But that's exactly what this driver is about to face. So here's the question. Can the trucker dodge disaster, or will this end up as another crash statistic? She can breathe again, but the car's a write-off. So how does this type of accident happen? If a truck driver turns too quickly or brakes so hard the wheels lock up, momentum keeps the trailer moving in the same direction. So, new direction for truck, old direction for trailer. And the result? The back of the trailer swings round in a classic jackknife. Exhaustive tests have shown that if the trailer swings round more than 15 degrees, it's virtually impossible to recover. If the trailer is fitted with anti-lock brakes, they'll fight against jackknifing. Without them, it's down to skill. In which case, a truck driver has about 1.5 seconds to save the situation, letting up on the brakes while he regains control. So, will this next motorist get lucky? He's driving along a Russian road in winter. But as he overtakes, he's faced with a terrifying sight. Can the truck driver miss the oncoming car? Thanks to the rapid reflexes of the lorry driver in limiting this slide to under 15 degrees, the truck slips past the car in the nick of time. It brings a whole new meaning to Russian roulette. Coming up, a firefighter's worst nightmare. How how not to break the ice. And disaster looms in the Swiss Alps. There's a peculiar affinity between people and ice.
I can see a crack in the middle.
Put the average person next to a stretch of frozen water and you can bet they'll be thinking, could I walk on that? That'll be a no. Hundreds of people die every year from falling through ice, often because they overestimate its strength. In theory, pure ice can support a person's weight if it's at least 10 centimeters thick. Anything thinner, don't even think about it. If it's twice as thick, it's more than twice as strong, until it's tough enough to hold cars, vans, you name it. This Russian swimmer is about to put ice theory to the test. He's being persuaded to break through the ice in this lake for a cold swim. He reckons it's thinner than the magic 10 centimeters. But, and this is the potential killer, that's based on pure guesswork. So, what happened next? Will he slice through the ice or perform a painful belly flop? That miscalculation had to hurt. Even if the ice was less than 10 centimeters thick, that's not the only important variable, because there are different kinds of ice. In these two clips, one vehicle takes a dip, but which one? The half-ton buggy or the 1.5-ton tractor? The ice is the same thickness, but the clue's in the video. First up, it's the buggy. But it's not long before it slips into a watery grave.
Oh my God!
As for the heavier tractor, a display of perfect pirouettes with no problem. And the clue was in the color of the ice. If ice is murky and opaque, it means it's porous and full of dissolved air, making it weak. Pure ice is much clearer, or it's blue, and it's stronger. The tractor is on blue ice, so no worries. But bear in mind, ice can be treacherous. So unless you've taken exact measurements and upgraded your insurance policy, best steer well clear of danger. The wind generated by a helicopter's rotor blades can reach 190 kilometers an hour. That's like sitting on top of a hurricane. This 10-ton Chinook is one of the world's most powerful helicopters. Although notoriously ungainly, Chinooks can lift more than double their own weight. So what happened when scientists tied this one down? Does it break free of its chains and take off? Or does it disintegrate? That's how much power is harnessed in getting one of these huge beasts airborne. A helicopter's rotor blades force air downwards, more so at the edges. The equal and opposite reaction lifts the machine up into the air. That's how it flies. But there's a catch. That downwash we've just seen trashing a helicopter creates a violent whirlpool of spinning air, or a vortex. This is an Mi-2, used for military, air ambulance and crop spraying. With a 700-kilogram payload, it's only a small fraction of the power of the Chinook. So what happens when this helicopter flies into its own downdraft? Does it disintegrate? Does it fall like a stone? Or does it spin out of control? It literally fell out of the sky. So what just happened? rotor blades create a vortex. This forces air up at its center. If a pilot drops into the vortex, all that rising air cancels out the effect of the downwards air from the rotor blades. And the helicopter turns from a flying machine into a falling machine. This phenomenon is called a vortex ring state. And the only way to avoid crashing is to escape from the vortex quickly. One trick is to tilt the helicopter forwards and literally blow the vortex away. So, if you ever wondered why a helicopter edges so slowly into land, now you know. It's to avoid getting trapped in a vortex. Verbier in the Swiss Alps 2011. A group of skiers are videoing their holiday. Among them, Christopher Carlson from Sweden, who's been skiing since he was a kid. Gradually, his friends have all wandered off, leaving him all alone, with only his headcam for company. Never mind the headcam, a rear-view mirror would be a useful piece of kit right now. Because he's being relentlessly pursued by an avalanche. Several tons of snow, one Swede. The physics just don't stack up for Christopher, but the snow does. Within seconds, he finds himself pinned down, 2 meters deep. Every year, 150 people are killed in avalanches, with the Alps claiming the largest share of fatalities. And here's a question. How long can somebody survive under an avalanche? An hour? Half an hour? 10 minutes? 60 seconds after being buried, Christopher is still breathing. The porous snow is allowing just enough air to get through. But it won't last. Soon, his breath will cause the snow covering his face to freeze over, quickly cutting off his oxygen supply. The good news is that as his brain and other organs cool down, they'll need less oxygen. So that small air pocket could sustain him a bit longer. So, how long can people stay alive, buried under snow? In extreme cases, up to an hour, sometimes even after the heart has stopped beating. Though most people would last around 10 minutes. Luckily for Christopher, his friends saw what happened. They've legged it back up the mountain, and now they've started digging him out. 6 minutes into his ordeal, they've dug deep enough to clear his face.
It's okay now.
Christopher is free. After being checked out by a paramedic, he's airlifted off the mountain. The following day, Christopher was back, though the experience of being buried under so much snow has made him a much more cautious skier. A private garage is on fire at Orting in Washington State, USA. Neighbors and local police officers have gathered, waiting for the fire brigade. There's a car inside, and the garage is connected to the house. Right now, that's all they know, until, out of the blue, there's a noise like a jet engine. Having heard that, what should they do? Stay put and wait for the fire service, hose down the immediate vicinity, or run? If they'd known what they were up against, they would have cleared out as quick as they possibly could. That jet engine-like noise was a warning that a gas canister was also inside the garage, ready to explode. And when it did, it destroyed both the garage and the house. Forget backdrafts, whooshing sounds like that are a firefighter's worst nightmare. Because it tells them they're up against a scary and unpredictable explosion. Like no other. It's called a bevy, a burning liquid expanding vapor explosion. And it happens because pressurized gas is stored in liquid form. If a gas tank gets hot, the liquid boils, turning back into gas and increasing pressure inside the tank. An emergency vent releases excess gas. Since the liquid was the only thing keeping the steel tank cool, As its level falls, the tank itself heats up and ruptures. With nothing to hold in the pressure, all the remaining liquid suddenly turns to gas with explosive force. The Washington State garage only contained a tiny 3.5-litre gas canister. Here, a 6,000-litre tanker of flammable liquid is on fire in Taiwan. It has potential disaster written all over it. Firefighters are here in force, dousing it with water, trying to reduce the temperature of the tank and prevent a bevy. So, have they done enough? Sadly, no. That distinctive whooshing sound is the vent. And that's the only warning they'll get. That's one big explosion. It's typical for a bevy, but next time somebody says, "Fancy a Barbie?" you might just want to reach for a hard hat.